Hello, I'm Eve Minax, and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about personal lubricants, what their uses are, and the different types of lubricants that are offered on the market currently. So the three main types of personal lubricants are water-based, silicone-based, and oil-based. I'm going to give you some variations on how and when and why you might use some of these, and then you can make your choices from there. One of the reasons why you would want to use lubrication is that it also helps to decrease friction, which could also decrease the potentiality for tearing very, very gentle little cells inside the vaginal walls, inside the anus, that could tear and then could help increase the possibility of contracting an STI or an STD. So that's one of the major issues, but one of the more pleasurable issues is that sometimes it just feels good. Most people really, really enjoy the sensation of having more lubrication in their anus or in their vagina as they're being pleasured or massaged, as it were, and the lubricant is going to take care of that for you. So there's no need to be shy about lubrication. Just make sure you choose the right one. Most commonly used being water-based lubricants. The reason for that is because they're very easy to clean up. They're useful for a number of different reasons. You can use them for vaginal penetration or anal penetration quite easily. And they're most readily found everywhere. You can find them even at the drugstore. The downside to some water-based lubricants, not all, but some carry parabens and glycerin, which are not very pleasant for the system, especially the glycerin, when you're using it vaginally, can create vaginal irritation and or infections. So when you're looking for a good, high-quality water-based lubricant, I suggest looking for one that is a glycerin and paraben-free. Paraben has just been known to create some issues with people. Potentially. There's not a lot of research, or there's research out there, but it's not clear. So it's just better to sort of stay away from parabens. Now I would say if you're using it in larger quantities, you're using your water-based lubricant in larger quantities, and you're not necessarily using it vaginally, then you don't necessarily need to worry about the glycerin so much. The glycerin does act as sort of an agent that helps make it a little bit more viscous, which is really nice. However, some of the leading organic paraben and glycerin-free lubricants, water-based lubricants on the market are quite good and very good quality. But if you're using larger quantities, you're only using it primarily for anal, I would say you don't have to worry about those things so much. Now, on to silicone-based lubricants. Just very briefly, silicone-based lubricants primarily contain anything that has dimethicone or silicone-based, and we'll talk about that more in another segment when I talk specifically about silicone lubes. The great side about silicone lubes, they don't dry out. They, unlike water-based lubes, which have a tendency to get sticky and dry pretty quickly, they don't dry out. You can use them for multiple uses. They're hypoallergenic. Really great for penetration, particularly anal, where you don't create your own lubrication naturally. So it keeps everything nice and moist in there. Really, really just a wonderful all-around lubricant. No taste, no smell. Some people say they have a bit of a taste. I disagree with that. I think they're pretty tasteless, but I'd let you be the judge of that. One of the major downsides to silicone lubricant, however, is the fact that it's incredibly difficult to clean up. Once it lands on the surface of wherever it lands, it likes to stay there. And that's the beauty of it being on your skin and in your flesh. It stays there, it stays fluid, stays moist, and helps you along. The downside when it lands on your floor or on your rug or on your bedding, well, not so easy to get out. There are some tips around that I'll talk about when I talk about silicone lubes more extensively in another clip. Finally, our oil-based lubricants. Oil-based lubricants are very, very useful for heavy, sort of hardcore play. However, the dangers of using them is that you don't want to use them with any kind of gloves or condoms, because they will deteriorate. Unlike With silicone lube and water-based lubes, they do not deteriorate condoms, latex condoms. The silicone lube, you wouldn't want to use that though with silicone toys. Once again, we'll talk about that more when we talk about silicone lubricants. Right now we're just talking about kind of straight up sex with either gloves or condoms. So the downside to oil-based lubricants is, unless you're fluid bonded with your partner, which means you actually exchange bodily fluids with each other, you have non-condom use sex, then you probably want to stay clear of those. Even if you're doing things with just your hands, you could have a cut in your hand, and if you don't know the person very well and you're doing some intensive kind of activity, you could get a small hole in the glove, and then if you have a cut in your hand, you could transmit an STI. It's something to be considered. The statistics on that are not perfectly clear. However, you probably want to just be aware of those types of things. Know your partner, talk to them. Those usually help clear things out. So this is your general sort of basic personal lubrication 101, just to give you some ideas on how you might be going about using your water-based, silicone-based, and oil-based lubricants. And I'll be happy to expand on each of those in future clips, particularly silicone lube, where there's a lot of concerns around cleanup and also the breaking down of toys. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to having your comments and talking to you some more about some future items. Thanks.